We up in here. We up in this bitch. I don't know. We just made that up. What
Wait,
is
you
up,
didn't answer
ladies?
me though. Do you listen
What?
to Pigeon John or what?
No, I said no. I don't know what Pigeon John or who
Ba
Pigeon John is.
ba 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 ba. Anyway, that's brand new. Anyway,
Is that is he
go
old? Is
ahead.
he old dude or?
Yeah, he's kind of old now.
Okay, we'll get into that later. It is your boy Sean Q, my partner, like always.
Jay Roman.
Together we are OSP. We're gonna jump right into this episode with what's popping because again we are what's popping. It's happened again, man.
I like when that
So
happens.
right, so we have been graciously added to True 100 Radio. True100radio.com has added us to their rotation. We are now part of their family. They have invited the OSP fam into their fam. And for that, we say thank you, fam. Shout out to Jamal and the squad out there. We appreciate y'all. We got a lot of good things coming. A lot of big moves going to be made with the True 100 family. Go ahead and check that out. I believe they have us airing on Wednesdays, right? Yeah. Something like
Right,
that.
nice, very
Right,
nice,
right,
very nice.
right. So check them out
Heavy
on Instagram.
rotation.
Right, right. Trying to get up in that heavy rotation.
And you know what?
Um,
To add to that though, I gotta say, yo, shout out to the world. We are now been listened to in 23 countries. I know it doesn't sound like much when there's
Jordan.
hundreds or maybe thousands of countries, Jordan. But 23 countries, and somebody in Ireland consistently listens to us.
That
So
is
they
what
have
I'm
like a
talking
full
about.
1% of listenership, which is more than anyone else. Everyone is all less than one, but someone in Ireland loves us.
I
So
hope
I'm gonna
it's a
take
dude
that.
named Sean. Sean. That'd
I
be
mean, it
dope.
probably is. So 23 countries. Shout out to all those countries that have already had, us infiltrate their airwaves, and hopefully we get to a few more, very soon, and then just keep expanding worldwide, baby, worldwide.
Wide, wide, wide. I like it. Let's get right into something that's happening. So this is funny to me. I told you the Trump supporters that I follow. Because I mean I haven't lost many friends over the whole politics in 2020. And there's a few people who I've been keeping a real close eye on. And a couple of them, all at the same time, as soon as Joe Biden won the election, a couple of them all decided, let's download the Parlor app. Let's download the Parlor app. It's a real app for real Americans, uncensored. Not like this Twitter and Facebook bullshit you're listening to. So all these people put on their Facebook pages, like, why don't you follow me on Parlor? Eric Trump is on it.
Gosh.
Everybody I like and love is on it, and we're gonna go out and just speak the truth. And is
Can
what
you
it
can you
sounds like.
get banned from it? Can I go in and get banned from it?
I
Just
don't know.
assault them with my facts.
I don't know. I know it came out in like 2018, and the guy who started one of like I think one of the Trumps started it was like if you don't like if you don't like the president's comments or what he feels, why don't you just vote him out? So then that happened, and then they're like, if you don't, he shouldn't be censored. We don't believe in censorship, so we have an app for people like us, and it's very, 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 very Republican heavy. All right, now we're not saying we don't invite Democrats, but it's very, very, very Republican heavy. And so all these people started posting, oh, it looks like I'm going to give this Parlor app a try. All these, what's funny about it is the people who are like, don't be a sheep, don't do what everybody else tells you to do, all at the same time are like, join me on Parlor.
I have made
And
that argument a dozen times. Like all the ones who say "don't be a sheep," you're still following someone. You're not your own leader. You're not following someone. You're doing the same thing. So which kind of sheep are you? I don't get the
right,
difference because
be a
there isn't
spotted
one.
sheep, dumbasses. It's hilarious. I like it.
So I thought it was a barber app. I thought it was like, hey, find the
Right?
local barbers because I thought, ooh, this is very smart. COVID probably really raised the need for traveling barbers. So I thought this was the thing, and then I hear it's about this very one-sided type information app, and it
Well,
just is
guess
the same I guess direction society has gone. Is now they have an app where they can all talk shit to each other with fake news and fake information and false information and misinformation, and no one's going to challenge them on it because they all think the same. Now it's an app dedicated to that. Yo, that's whacked out. Like you're not going to get anywhere with that. But
I'm with it.
that's the
I
way
like it
society's gone.
because that's less of them on Facebook and Instagram that I have to look at.
Yeah, but that's more
Okay,
ignorance just
bye.
being
That's
reinforced.
it. Don't matter.
And I'm not saying that, I'm never going to say that Democrats haven't spread crazy rumors and lies and all kinds of nonsense because of course they have. But to have an app that is like mostly focused on that doesn't make any sense to me because again, a one-sided point of view is never going to make you grow as a human. And maybe you don't want to grow as a human. You know what? That's on you. Whatever.
Speaking of growing as a human, I'm feeling that Mandalorian look on your headphones, your headset. Yeah, very, very
This is the way.
Mando.
This is the
Very,
way, baby.
very Mando. So you mentioned the COVID cases and what should have been the Parlor app, which sounds like the white version of a barbershop app. Yeah. Like, hey, you guys want to talk some shit the way they do? Meet
Yeah.
me at the Parlor. California
The parlor.
is apparently about to return to purple
Like the whole state.
because there is another spike in cases, another spike in COVID cases, and California is not helping the cause at all. So I'm not thinking, I don't know if we're going to get shut down again, but they're definitely about to scale back a lot of what was allowed to happen over the last couple months
Yeah.
dramatically. And apparently it's supposed to kick in on Thanksgiving, which I guess is kind of perfect because it's like a lot of things are closed. So just don't reopen or don't open the same way the day after. So it's going to be a weird Black Friday, which we all expected. I expect Cyber Monday to be insane this year, like more
Mm,
insane than it has been
mm.
in the past. We did an episode in the past about, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I think Cyber Monday this year is going to be just insane because
It's
nobody's going to
Cyber
be able to,
weekend.
yeah, nobody's going to be able to go out for Black Friday really. So it's going to be crazy, man. But this is what happens. This is what happens when, there's you guys can have an inch and then we take the mile. That's just shit gets pulled back. But
Well,
yeah,
California is now the second state to hit over 1 million cases. Texas was the first.
Tejas.
New York was well on the way there when they first started, but they shut shit down. So the way they shut it down really helped them get out of the tight spot they were in, and now they're doing a little bit better. But still, it's wintertime. People hold up. People are together. People are trying to do whatever they're doing, and of course the cases are going to go up. So they've already shutting things down. But Texas, that governor was it Texas? He came out and he was like full state mandate for masks. Like everyone, you got to it's like, hold on. All you assholes in the Dakotas, Wisconsin, all this place, they're all saying, oh, whatever, we're not going to deal with it. We're going to follow this guy in the White House. Now look at your states. Now you're the worst ones. Texas, of all places, to be number one in cases out of the whole United States when they weren't even really mentioned early on. Like no one was really talking about them. Of course, they had a lot because they're a big state, but now we're number two. You're right. Orange County about to go back to the purple. I don't know what they're going to do with my job. I don't know what you're going to do with your job, everyone else's job. Man, it's the struggle's real. The struggle's real.
I am about to retreat to my original idea from before, starting an OnlyFans page. It will involve me doing push-ups and playing
Give me,
Xbox. If
give me
you
a
are
preview, baby. Give me a
right,
preview.
if you want to see me doing push-ups and playing Xbox, you want to see your boy Sean Q playing some 2K with a sleeveless shirt and shit. I'm good.
Yeah, man.
So you and I got
Oh,
into a conversation.
sorry. Hold on, real quick. You're talking about COVID.
Go.
We are now over 10 million cases in this country. We have the highest amount of deaths out of the world, but yet we have 4% of the world population. 4. But yet we have the most deaths and the most cases.
Because we're the home of the free and the land of the brave. We're free to do whatever we want. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's just how that goes. You and I were chopping it up, and we were talking about the latest episode that we saw of SNL that had the GOAT on there, Dave Chappelle. And once again, 4 years ago, Dave Chappelle was on SNL when Donald Trump got elected. The very first episode, he was on there. And, he told the country, get ready for this. It's about to be weird. And now 4 years later, Joe Biden's in there and Donald Trump's out and he has Chappelle back to be like, all right, so it was a follow-up. And it was a really, really, really good follow-up. We couldn't stop praising Dave Chappelle on his, not only on his stand-up, but on his, obviously, the man's very intelligent. The man's a genius. The man knows what he's talking about. He's very woke, but the fact that SNL gave him that platform to do that at the time they did it had us going back in the crates and digging up like, well, you know what? We as a society, I don't think give SNL enough credit because, and I say a lot about Lorne Michaels. I've been watching SNL since I was a kid. I've seen not all, but a lot of the old episodes from before I was born. Yeah. And for the most part, they've always been very relevant, very with the times, very on point with political issues, with social issues. And it's the fact that they've done that for over 40 years, the fact that Lorne Michaels has done that for over 40 years to keep the number one sketch comedy show after all the competition that's come out, Mad TV and Living Color, Chappelle Show, Key and Peele, all this competition to still remain relevant and hit points that need to be hit. I feel like they're one of those few entertainment venues that COVID has actually not really affected. Because remember, for a while they were recording from Zoom and they were doing like all the writers and all the entertainers would record stuff at home and they would send it in and the editors would chop it up and send it. They did a few times, but then
Mm-hmm,
they
mm-hmm.
they're following the guidelines. They got the mask, they got the socially distanced crowd, and they just are bringing in some heavy hitters at a time when we need them. They had Bill Burr on there a little while ago, and you and I were talking about how Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle, they're like the last of a dying breed. These are the
Yeah.
last of the real comedians who understand that comedy is meant to heal, and it's also meant to be real and say some real shit. Dave Chappelle said,
Mm-hmm.
"It sucks that I have to follow everything with a punchline. I can't
Yeah.
just get up here and say some real shit. I have to have a punchline, or else you wouldn't listen to me." And
Yeah.
a lot of these comedians aren't doing that because they're afraid of the backlash. They're afraid of the cancel culture. And I think it's dope that Lorne Michaels gets these people out there and he's like, look, the country feels like this right now. Who can speak to the people? And they are usually on point with who they get to speak to the people. And I love it. I've been a fan of SNL for a while, fell off for a little bit. I still go back and watch a few, but shout out to Lorne Michaels, man. That dude is a genius. He's an underrated genius. Years from now, they're going to be showing like a Kennedy Honors Award ceremony or something for Lorne Michaels. And some people are, who's Lorne Michaels? I'm like, oh, remember these moments. This dude, look at how many stars have come out of SNL. Look at how many shows he's the executive producer on. Look at how
Yeah.
many careers he has made basically by himself. The dude is a genius. He gets not enough credit. Shout out to Lorne Michaels. All I'm trying to say is, can we get a digital segment with OSP? That's what all this was for. Can OSP get a digital segment on SNL?
So you would know this because I don't. I'm not a huge fan of sketch comedy. I try and catch the ones that are popular because let's see, okay, what the hype is about. This one was said to be really good. I skip SNL a lot. This season though, it's been on point, man. Everybody that they've had has been just like hitting you and hitting you and hitting you with solid points. But even all the comedians, and it's all comedy, right? So they all had such a tone to them that it's like you said, it's followed up with a punchline, or it is the punchline, the tone of what's happening with coronavirus, what's happening with elections, what's happening with racism, what's happening with this, and it's really some of the ways it kind of gives a little bit of relief to the seriousness of it all. Because Dave Chappelle on this last one, or I should say last week, he wasn't necessarily funny. There's funny points, but it was more about making the points through the eyes of a comedian because he has to look at these things in a different way than a lot of people do because he has to think about how do I twist it for one to get
Right.
people to listen to what I'm saying, but also like you said, one of the smartest people out there. He brings the context into his comedy better than anyone I've ever seen before him. After him, there's a few good people after you said Key and Peele and stuff like that. But the context that he brings in, the way and it was so good. CNN broke it down. I mean, CNN broke down Dave Chappelle's 16-minute
Monologue.
opening thing, or it's not really opening because they do that whole full sketch before, and they break down how what he's saying is like a gut punch. It's heart wrenching. You know what I mean? But you got to hear it. It's a hard reality that we're living right now. And you know what? But Chris Rock did it too. But Chris Rock was right before the election happened. And then Bill Burr did it, and Issa Rae does it. And SNL has had me more in tune this year than ever because I need comic relief, man. Like I can't, everything's just so crazy all the time. I need to be able to laugh. You got to say, Jim Carrey's still killing me as Joe Biden, but it's cool that they have all these major comedians in the beginning. There's even that white guy. I forget what his name is. But he did really well. He made me laugh. He had some real serious points that people were getting on him about, like maybe his 94-year-old grandmother shouldn't vote and stuff like that.
John Mulaney. I
Yo,
like John Mulaney. He
I
started as
like
a
I,
writer on SNL. I like
I
John
like
Mulaney.
him too, but like, whoa, that guy said some serious stuff. And that's the
Good.
thing. They're all saying like really valid points. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not, but it just makes you think like, wow, these guys, they have the tone of America down. You know what I mean? And that's the point. And Lauren Michaels, right? Lauren Michaels,
Lauren. Yeah.
Lauren, 46 seasons. This is the 46th season. They're all on Peacock right now. This new app, Peacock that has the NBC channel, whatever. They're all on Peacock. So I can go back and watch any episode I want. Maybe the whole thing. I'm not sure if they have every single thing. Kind of like Chappelle's show used to like cut out the music part.
Right.
So that's pretty dope. So I'm able to catch it. And it's the way Chappelle broke it down. It's like, wow, man, what a year. What a year we're dealing with. And it's still coming. because we technically don't officially have the new president elected yet, and it's now Saturday, November 14th, and there's a 5 million vote margin that's not going to be overcome. So I think we do know, but we're going to get into that a little bit more. But let's keep with the SNL because I really like where we're going with that, and that path of what we're talking about there.
I on that subject real quick, I saw something today and it was like they were recounting votes and it's like Biden's votes are just getting higher. Like, is that not what they thought would happen? It's funny they should change this like instead of like for 2020, instead of the changing of the guard, it should be like the flushing of the bowl because we're trying to get that piece of shit out the White House and it's just not. It's just taking forever, but it'll happen.
It's just circling the drain. It just pops back up. When you think it goes down, it pops back up.
No one's heard from. Oh, there he is.
Yo, man.
Yeah.
Insane. Speaking of SNL, and speaking of legends and how legendary Lorne Michaels is going to go down as and all the comedians, we lost a couple big ones this past week again, man. A week and a half since the last. I don't know. It's like just keep. Granted, these guys were old,
right?
Oldish, whatever, depending on relative to you. But Alex Trebek, I mean, pancreatic cancer, man. That the survival rate of that is in the single-digit percent, if I'm correct, like 4%, something crap like that.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze died from that one. Now Trebek and countless others. So rest in peace, Alex Trebek. I mean, I can't imagine, besides maybe the guy in Wheel of Fortune, a more prominent host of a show that we've watched at night that so many people are into. I used to play Jeopardy on Nintendo or Sega or whatever the hell it was.
I love Jeopardy. Alex Trebek was a legend. There are certain names when you hear, you're like, everybody knows who that is. Everybody knows. Like you're thinking Pat Sajak. When Wheel of Fortune comes on, you expect to see Pat Sajak's face. For a while, when people didn't see Vanna White, they were freaking the fuck out. We have just recently, somehow I stopped watching it, but we just recently kind of got past Bob Barker not being on The Price is Right. People are starting to kind of get into Drew Carey, and it's been years. But still, you expect to see Bob Barker with that long microphone and have your pet spayed or neutered.
And that perfect hair. Perfect hair.
It didn't move.
His damn age.
The Price is Wrong, bitch. And then
classic.
And then we had Alex Trebek. Alex Trebek was Jeopardy. He was the man. And we posted a clip a little while ago of him when they did Hip Hop Jeopardy. And it was him quoting the lyrics, and it was just so dope. The guy was just dope. To be in a room full of geniuses all the time and just be able to command the room, and it was just dope, man. I miss Alex Trebek. I remember it was like a year ago when he said he was fighting cancer, and he was like, I'm not going to give up, and he fought it for a while, and he was winning, and then the cancer almost always wins. That's just how it goes. And so we got him, and then speaking of SNL, there was one of the most famous sketches done by Will Ferrell and Daryl Hammond was they would do Celebrity Jeopardy, and the main star on there would be Mr. Sean Connery, and that sketch between Will Ferrell and Daryl Hammond of Alex Trebek and Sean Connery, every time they were doing some shit, it was hilarious, and it's insane to me that one of their most famous sketches that they've done multiple times, they've done like I think 6 or 7 Celebrity Jeopardies with those.
Oh, yeah. They had the one with Chadwick Boseman. That is one of my favorites.
Yeah. The fact that 2 of those people passed away within a week of each other is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Just the way your mother likes it, Trebek. My roommate walks up and down the house, and I just went back on Hulu and I had to rewatch The Rock because I hadn't seen it so long. And every other month, my roommate would be like, "Whoa, Mac. I should have known it was you piece of shit." I'm like, oh, that's right, The Rock. Oh, dope. So
man, I gotta go back and watch Highlander. That's one of my favorite roles he's in. People forget about that.
Only one. Yeah. That's Veltria's favorite Bond. It's a lot of people's favorite James Bond. And we had just been talking recently about them recasting the new James Bond movies, and the OG, the legend, the best one, he passed away. So R.I.P. to Mr. Trebek and R.I.P. to Mr. Connery. 2020, you are a whore. And
dirty whore. Dirty diseased whore.
You dirty cancerous whore. There is a petition that is going out right now, and it's one of those petitions where you're like, this shouldn't even be a petition. This should just happen. And the petition is to have LeVar Burton replace Alex Trebek as the Jeopardy host. And I think that is just a perfect fit. I don't know anybody who would have a problem with that. You were saying it's good that it would be like his second wave, his second
Second
Um,
act.
his second act. He's very intelligent. He knows everybody loves him. He
Hmm.
doesn't have like a whole tainted past. He's not, you know, what I mean, he's not a former crackhead. I mean, it's the
Even if he
dude from
was,
Reading Rainbow,
I
bruh.
know.
Who don't like the dude from Reading Rainbow? I
Hmm.
mean, Jordy from Next Generation, he should absolutely do it. Shouldn't even be a
Yeah.
petition. ABC should sign him right away and be like, dude, you're the host. Let's get this. And then SNL can keep doing their Black Jeopardy with Keenan Thompson because they'll have a black host. It'll be perfect.
That would be pretty good.
We
Oh my
let's take a
gosh.
commercial real quick. Let's take a commercial and come right back. All right. Keep your eyes open. Keep your ears open. And welcome back to Jeopardy. I can't do Alex Trebek. I can't do it.
I can't. I'm not going to try.
We are back. So things are changing in the world of 2020, and the slowest sport in the history of evolving is slowly evolving.
You think it's the slowest, really?
Well, we
I would
talked
actually
about
put
this because
football
remember we were
behind
talking
them.
about basketball, how fast basketball advanced as far as technology
Hmm.
and getting fans involved and getting worldwide recognition. And then NFL is constantly growing. They're, you know, with the replays, technology, worldwide recognition. The rule changes to prevent concussions and shit like that. The
Yeah, yeah.
slowest one is always, as far as American sports, it's always MLB. Baseball is
Mm.
always 2 or 3 steps behind because they're sticking by that. We're America's pastime and we're not going to change anything about it. And it's just, you have to change some things. So there was a giant change, courtesy of Mr. Derek Jeter, one of the greatest to ever do it. Shout out to the Yankees. The MLB has their first ever female GM in history. Now, her name is Kim. Now, I can't say the last word name because it's NG. I don't know how to say NG. I was supposed
Uh,
to.
um,
Ng, ng, ng.
Gosh darn it! I know this. I know this. I had someone and they said that's how you say it, and it's something ridiculous. It's NG. That's how you spell it, but it's like Lee or something like that. It's something weird. I'm telling you, it's way different than what you expect. I forgot what that means,
Okay.
what it is, but yeah, we'll figure
We're
it
not
out.
even going to try it. But she is the new GM of the Florida Marlins. Uh, I mean, the Miami, is it Miami Marlins? Florida Marlins? Miami.
Who cares?
They're in
I don't
Florida.
care
It
about
does
this
not matter.
whack ass team.
Of the She is the new GM, and maybe she could change some things around. So we've decided we're going to give props because a lot of things are changing. There's a lot of firsts that happened this year, mainly because of the election. The two before we get into it, you're gonna name off some a couple. After you name them off, I'm gonna give them a congratulatory clap, give them their props. But there's two we got to mention first. First, there's the obvious, Kamala Harris. We have to
Mm.
mention the first female vice president, the first black vice president, the first South Asian vice president, first Indian vice president, like all of it. She covers all ground.
The whole thing. The whole thing.
She covers all of it. You name it,
Yeah.
she got it.
Yeah.
Obviously she gets her own. And then real quick shout out, I just found out about this one. It is Alyssa Nakin was the first female coach in MLB history. So the
Mm.
MLB has two women coming. I mean, like I'm trying to, if I get some female umps in there, it might change up a few things. You know what I mean? Because everybody else got female refs. NBA got some female refs. They got female coaches. NFL got some female coaches. They got female refs. Come on, baseball, catch up. All
Yep.
right. So you shout out some first that we have for 2020 since this election. And mad props to everybody for going out to vote. We have been saying for months, go vote, let your voice be heard. And it wasn't just about the presidential election. It was about the
Mm-hmm.
smaller scale election as well. So
Yep.
if not for you all going out to vote, these people wouldn't be where they are right now. So you shout them out. I'm
Now,
gonna get them their
now
props.
I'm not going to say names because there's a lot. I'm going to say the positions and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So we have Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. She says Kamala. I know Kamala Khan from the comics, so it's still a little different. But anyway, so shout out for that. So we now also have the first openly gay black man in Congress. Two of them. In all places, New York.
Well, yeah.
So it's like
You ever been to the
that's
village?
perfect. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see. Hold on. First transgender congressperson. All right. First openly gay black man on the California Supreme Court.
That's what I'm talking about. I like it.
There's also a first non-binary person in Congress.
Wow.
So
first,
in
wow.
just this election alone, not only did we get more women in office, but we got more trans people in office, and we got more openly gay people in offices. And And it's a really nice little shift happening because they're joining the ranks of these others, Cortez, and I can never remember the other one's names, because of Cortez is such the prominent one, that there's a shift in Congress. More of the younger, more of the more colorful people, more of the outcasted people for all this time who are still being, you know, ridiculed and hated against by these MAGA people because they want to keep it in the 1950s, where what's his face, Lindsey Graham said the good old days of segregation. You know what I mean? Yeah, that asshole. So, you know what I mean? Shout out to all that. I mean, that is because we have decided to progress rather than regress. And it was one of those things that really goes to show how much voter apathy and thinking shit was sweet back in 2016 happened, because we realized, oh, we messed up, we got to get something back, and we came roaring back. More votes than any time in history for Joe Biden. Like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? My vote's in there. I actually got to see if my vote counted, because according to the county, my last one didn't count. I'm like, wait, I know I turned that in by hand at the fire station, so I'm like, I don't know what happened here. So I got to make sure my vote count, because I got to figure out what's wrong with my signature.
Now, to these people, first of all, I love that you said colorful people. I just want to put that out there. I'm never gonna let you forget that,
because it's not just one color.
I know. It's just colorful people. Such a colorful breed of people.
I'll take that. Hold on. School me, is that bad?
Okay. No, I'd take that over colored. So many colored people. I like colorful. So to these people, we do say this. I believe it was Ben Parker who said, "With great power comes great responsibility." And we don't want you to rest on your laurels. We don't want you to be like, I use this as my platform to get in, and now I'm in, and that's it. Yeah. Now you have to fight for others like you. Mm-hmm. You don't get a pass because you're the first to do something. You can't be like, well, I'm the first openly gay black man in Congress. Okay, do something. Do something important. Don't just be known as the first of anything. Be known as somebody who actually went in and did some work.
I mean, that is extremely important, that we are, when these people are in, they ran on probably the platform that they're gay, or hey, I'm gay and I'm black and I know this, or I'm non-binary and I'm a woman and I'm this, or I'm trans and I'm this and that. Like, they probably ran on these platforms because they wouldn't have probably ran otherwise, or gotten in because of those reasons, because those communities are huge. People don't realize how big these communities are. The gay community in New York is massive. The trans community in New York is massive. The trans community here in California is massive. Florida, Oklahoma, all these places have big communities like this. So it's really great that they're in, and now it's really like, prove it. Show me you are here for us. Because one thing, a lot of people have problems with the Obama administration. They're like, oh, he was black, but you know what? He still didn't do a lot of things I agree with. Of course, he's the leader of the free world. There's gonna be a lot of things you don't agree with, whether he's the boss of the company, whether he's the boss of the country. But hopefully you feel like he did right for most of the people, because that's the point. And so I'm hoping that a lot of these people and that they understand that, because they can get voted out just as easily as they voted in. And you better believe all these ones who got voted in, there's people out there who are pushing right now to work on the campaign to get them out for the next time, because they're black, because they're trans, because they're gay, because they're non-binary, because they're whoever they are. They want to get them out, and they're fighting right now to push those to get people in place to see, who can we get here now in Georgia to replace this person we just got elected, because we want to get that back. It's obviously a big deal, because right now Georgia's going to have a runoff. You know what I mean? So it's huge. We got to keep going, and we got to keep fighting. And that's kind of one of those things. Like, I'm already so exhausted. I feel like sleeping right now. I came home and wanted a nap. You know why? Because after work, I go outside my building where I'm working, and I'm seeing people still selling Trump shit, and it says "Stop the Steal" now, and I'm like, what do you mean stop the steal? This is over. So it's like, it's so exhausting, and we're going to be fighting, it feels like, forever at this point, because they've already in Congress said they're already going to be blocking Biden's picks for things, and already going to be blocking his cabinet and this and that. And it's the same nonsense over and over, and it's the same hypocritical bullshit over and over. And it's like, you guys are a bunch of sheep voting for hypocrites who don't care about you, but yet you are still okay with this. I feel like the entire Republican Party should turn against themselves and all go Democrat or all go independent or whatever, because their leaders have shown them, you're not worthy, man. You keep lying and you keep being hypocritical. You keep turning your back on your own stuff. Like, how do you feel about your own people? Oh, they're fine with me because they keep it racist. Say straight up, you're voting for racists who are trying to keep things segregated. You're trying to keep things separated, and you're okay with that. And some people, I've heard this a few times, unfortunately, from a few people I either know or work with, whether in passing. Well, at least they're getting something done. Getting what done? What are they
Right.
getting done? What are they doing that you feel like is actually advancing the country and advancing your life, your career, that someone else who wasn't saying the Mexicans were the enemy or the black people from their shithole countries, was you can't pick someone who's okay to not say that and say it's okay to work with those people instead. There has to be someone who's completely vilifying those people, but you're okay with that because they're progressing something. No, they're not.
Right.
They're not progressing jack shit.
And
It's
because they're
again,
not
we
talking about you.
exactly. We brought it up before. It's like the Trump saying he's going to bring back coal. No, you're not. That's like us going back to living in caves. Are you an
Right.
idiot? Like, that's just stupid.
What are you, an idiot? So to these people, I say this: you kind of lucked out. You guys kind of lucked out, and you have to take advantage. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You have to take advantage. So my message is this: to the first openly gay black men, the two in Congress, to the first transgender Congressperson, to the first openly gay black man at the Supreme Court, to the first non-binary in Congress, I say this: follow the example that has been put before you by your second in command, Kamala Harris. She said it. I may be the first, but I will not be the last.
Hmm.
Set the tone so you can be followed. That's how it should be done. Don't be
Yo,
Clarence
oh,
Thomas.
yeah, don't. You just had to throw that in there. I was wondering if we were going to get to that because that guy. So here's something about Kamala Harris. Watching her on screen was amazing. Okay, for one, she looked fantastic as only a black woman dressing like that could. And I was like, that's what's up. Like everything about her shows who she is, and I love it. And my wife was watching, holding the baby. There were tears in her eyes and stuff like that because like this is a historic moment. And all I can think is, as historic as this is, you were a cop. You were a top cop. And yes, you tried to clean up some stuff, but we need to we're going to probably have to have an episode where we kind of dig into that past because we need to know what we're going to hold you accountable for.
Right.
Obviously, we can't take everything you've done in the past that's already done and say, look what you did, because maybe you changed up. Maybe you learned. Maybe going a different route now. Maybe with a different team and greater power, you think, okay, wait, maybe I should do it this way. She's growing. She's growing. She's constantly
Right.
growing, which is
But
an
core
amazing thing.
beliefs are still core beliefs.
Exactly. So I want to make sure. That we always know what's going on because I too, with the Obama administration, was like, cool. We don't hear about the president every day, which is how it should be. I shouldn't hear every damn thing about the president every single day. It's
The
exhausting.
president tweeted out that he hates this guy, and it's fake
It's like,
news.
I don't give a shit about that. If it's big and all that, but there's still a whole bunch of little things that we didn't see and we didn't learn about it enough until afterward. It's unfortunate. I mean, I guess it's fortunate that we know everything's Trump doing because everyone's reporting on it so much. But we got to really make sure we hold him accountable because she may not be the last, and she may be a future president. You know what I mean? And that's a big key, and it's another huge step. And I don't want her to be the last. I want other girls. I want other women. I want other people of color to rise up to that power. I love seeing it because without the diversity, without the equality across the board of equal voices, at least, you know what I mean? Equality needs to be practiced, obviously, and really, sink into people's hearts. But without that, like, we're obviously a shit nation, as we just were. We've been on fire all year long, literally and figuratively. You know what I mean? So we need that diversity in those rooms. And the team of Biden Harris could be really great because they're going to keep each other in check. Because a good point somebody made, I think it was on Trevor Noah, was you got to respect Biden because Kamala knocked his ass out in that debate. And he's like, oh, I'm not even sweating. I respect that. And then brought her on the team. Like, that's
Right.
what's up. If you say something, against Trump, he fires you. You know what that
Right.
is? You know what that is? For all you MAGA people, it's a bitch move. It's a bitch move, straight up. So I love that you have someone who is able to have the difference next to him, right next to him, right
Right.
next to him. Like, this is my counterpart here, my counter puncher, if I need her to. Not a yes man, not a yes
Yeah.
woman. I
Yeah.
mean, fucking
You
great.
need the diversity because if you don't have somebody in there to speak for everybody, then you don't have somebody in there to
Hmm.
speak for everybody. You need somebody in there to represent you, people who look like you, people who have your same lifestyle. And
Something.
I love it. I love that we're at that. So to stay on politics real quick before we get up out of here and do our what the shit. Um, Remember Shine from Bad Boy?
Yeah, I'm looking at this note that I just see right here. So
Yeah. So Shine, remember Shine went and did a 10-year bid.
hold on, real quick. Back to Clarence Thomas. So here's the thing about Clarence Thomas, though, real fast, just kind of clarify. Clarence Thomas, one reason he's a big asshole is because he came in on the affirmative action shit, and then he fought against affirmative action. So that's some straight, turn your back 180 degrees bullshit. Also, he is conservative. There's nothing wrong with being conservative, okay? But you were putting conservative values and views on things that you now have a more conservative court. So it's kind of um, I don't know if he's like relishing in this power now that he might have, being that he's now in a conservative heavy court and had a conservative heavy, Congress for a long time. Not that he cares about that part, but there's nothing wrong with being conservative. It's just a matter of like your conservative values shouldn't interfere with other people's human rights. Okay, there's a lot of conservative values we have, you and I have, that you can put on the conservative realm. Not everything has to be super progressive and super aggressive. But man, he's got some shit. We're gonna get into him. We're gonna get into him one day. We're gonna get in that ass, Clarence Thomas. Not like it's gonna help. He's in the Supreme Court forever, so
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
But
He
still.
don't care. He can touch ladies inappropriately and it don't matter.
So sorry about that.
Um,
Yeah, let's get back
no, you
to
good.
Shine because
So Shine, if you remember, because we're all old school cats. Shine, when he was on Bad Boy, he got locked up, and his album came out when he was in jail, and it did pretty well. And I remember a couple of songs where they had him. He would call from jail, and he would be on people's tracks, and it
hmm
was pretty dope. Well, when Shine got released, they deported him back home to Belize,
hmm
and we all remember like, all right, cool, man. Shine got out. What if he's gonna do some stuff? What he did was follow his father's footsteps and get into politics.
hmm.
And Shine, in this last election, was just voted into the Belize House of Representatives. Shine
What?
is Shine's name is Moses. He followed Judaism when he was in prison. His name is Moses Barrow, and he is now on the House of Representatives in Belize. Former Bad Boy rapper is and P Diddy was saying like, hey, make sure you go out if you can vote for him, and he got in. So
Huh?
he ran on the platform of I lived a hard life. I believe if I changed, other people can change. Let's promote change. And now he's on the House of Representatives in the Belize. So shout out to Moses Barrow, aka Shine. That's dope.
That's that's gangster. Like he was gangster before. That's more gangster right there.
I like it,
I'll
right?
take that.
Right? Now he's actually doing things. You got a dude who was locked up in America for 10 years on your House of Representatives. Like, he's seen some shit. All right. The
Yo, shout out to that man because I read the note so fast. I thought it said bone marrow, so I thought maybe he needed a transplant or something. And I was like, oh wait, it says Moses Barrow, so that's his real name. I never actually knew his whole name because he always said Shine Poe, and I was like, okay, sure, and those tracks where he was through the phone, I love those tracks because I love that sound, like the phone tap song. I love that sound. There's something around about that sound coming through the mics. I love it. I love it. Anyway,
yeah.
that's
Shout
huge.
out
That's
to
huge because I'm happy Diddy did something for him because, or at least said something about it because, like they had a lot of beef because of that. And the reason he got sent back was because he did 10 years.
yeah.
And the law where he was, or maybe it's a federal one. You do 10 years and you're a foreigner, you get sent back after that 10 years. You do your prison, you get sent back. It happened to Slick Rick. I think they fought for him to be able to come back though because his was bullshit. Because he was already naturalized or something like that. Anyway, that's old history. I have to follow up on that. Um,
Yeah.
so it sounds like we got to get to the what the shit. What the
Let's
shit?
I'm gonna let you go ahead and put it on because you you threw it in the notes and I didn't hear it. I'm gonna let you go ahead and put it on me. Handle it. Hit me.
So we now have the next march happening. All right, there's been the Million Man March. There's been the Million
Preach.
Women March.
Preach.
I'm not sure if the Million Black Man March or the whatever that one was called.
That was the Million Man
Maybe
March.
I think it's just called Million Man March again. So now we
Preach.
have the Million MAGA March. So, which according to McEnany, this idiot, who I got to say, idiot or not, she does really well keeping her name in the spotlight because the bullshit she spews, and the lies that she keeps telling
Mr. Roman,
are
Mr. Roman,
are
Mr.
amazing.
Roman, Mr. Roman. I'm trying to speak into the mic so you can hear this. Did you say Million MAGA March?
Yeah. Million MAGA March.
Carry
So,
on, sir.
so This was in Washington, and they were also supported as part of the group that was there, the alt-right boys, a white supremacist group. Because you know how they like to have call Trump their commander in chief. You know, they're whoever they think he is to them. You know, and he has never denounced them. So they marched, and apparently it was in the maybe tens of thousands of people, not even 100,000. Even one newspaper, I think it was the New York Times, said there were only hundreds of people there, not anywhere close to a million. Of course, McEnany though said that there was a million people there, which we know that's not true because there's never that many people at all the Trump stuff, ever. There never
Dude, there
is.
wasn't a million people at the Million Man March. There's never a million people, period.
Exactly. So it's just one of those things like you have all these people who are marching, and the call right now is the same thing I saw on the sign: stop the steal. Like we're stealing the election. Another form of hypocrisy. Okay, don't get me wrong. Democrats were saying the same shit 2016. All right, and I think I made a mistake in the last episode when I said 22 years ago when I feel like the Republicans did steal that election. It was actually 20 years ago. 22 is when I first registered, and I think I voted in like the primary, so I was confusing my years. But the 20 years ago with the recount, which new information now shows that that recount actually only involved a few counties in Florida because Florida was so tight that it only involved a few counties, and when Gore lost. Again, Gore won the popular vote. So it's like, okay, how does that work? That was a real life lesson right there. Like, oh, how we vote doesn't actually matter. So the popular president doesn't actually get the win. And we learned that again with 2016 with Trump. But now it's pretty definitive. He's down by, I think, 5 million votes at this point. And like you said, the recount keeps going, making Biden's number go higher. So, hey, I'll take that. The Million MAGA March. And here's the biggest deal about this bullshit and the non-concession that Trump is doing and blocking. They're actually blocking the Biden transition from happening. They're limiting access. They're denying access. The GSA, which I forget what that stands for, has to sign a form to give transitional power and money to the Biden people. She has not signed it. So without that, they can't have certain funds, but they can do a lot of other things. One thing I love though is come January 20th, the I guess former president at that point is now technically a trespasser. They will kick his ass out. All right, he will be breaking the law, and guess what? It's lawsuit time, baby. Lawsuit time. So the Million MAGA March is part of this next bullshit of the Republican Party that is currently the Republican Party because they're not all bad. These Trump supporters, I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're nuts. Okay, they are trying to keep the base going, rally the base to raise more money for the runoff in Georgia because there are 2 seats available in Georgia. So they are trying to keep them pumped up. And so these other senators are saying the same thing. I'm not going to, even though secretly, apparently they are, or in private, they're saying they know that Trump lost. They're still supporting this bullshit of non-conceding and all these lawsuits because they know they have this runoff coming and they're afraid of losing those next 2 seats in Georgia. So people in Georgia, if y'all listen to us, please register the vote. That runoff, I believe, is January 5th. If I'm wrong, please look it up. You need to get those seats because we need to get more control. Even if it just hits 50-50 Democrat and Republican, then they can vote however they're going to vote during when bills come up and all that. But if they have a 51-49 majority, that's where everything's going to get blocked. You know what I mean? So that's where the problem is. So to keep a base rallied up on bullshit when you've lost the election because you're scared of the runoff, and that's another thing about these Republicans that I'm seeing in office. And I'm talking about people like Graham. I'm talking about people like what's Cluckface? What's his face? Mitch McConnell. These bitches, right? I'm talking. They are scared. They are cowards. They're too cowardly to challenge Trump and to go against and say, "Oh well, we won. Let him be," because they know what's going to be coming. They're too scared, even though they won by wide margins. They are cowards, and they've shown it over and over and over again. So again, MAGA base, you are supporting cowards, okay? Because not only and it just goes to show we have the numbers. It's just voter suppression that keeps us away from the polls. You know what I mean? Because we showed it. We're there. We did our thing. We didn't let all that get in the way. You know what I mean? And they're running scared. And we didn't get enough this election. So hopefully 2024 we get a little more. Hopefully there's a little more balance. That's what all we need. Just some balance. Just some balance, baby. You know what I mean? We don't need a full Democrat House, Senate, and President, or a full Republican House, Senate, and President. Like that's just nonsense. So there's your Million MAGA March. What the shit? It's like, come on, people, cowards, all of you.
Speaking of balance, I feel like you drank a bang this episode instead of me. Jay Roman was on one.
You just get me
Yeah,
hype. You get me
I'm
hype
with
for
it.
this nonsense, man.
I'm with it. All right. We have taken up enough of your time. We appreciate you listening to us. Check us out on Twitter at We Are OSP, on Instagram at Old School Perspective, on Facebook at Old School Perspective. We respond to everybody. Everybody? Everybody. So next time,
Worldwide.
I'm Sean Q. Be smart.
Jay Roman, we out.
Keep it old school.